Welcome. Welcome back to the channel. I am Beluga the Jaegerist, and today we're going to be talking about Stohess. What about Stohess? You may be saying, Beluga, why are you talking about something that happened about a decade ago? Because this happened around a decade ago. If you're a manga reader or if you're an anime watcher, it's been around a decade when this thing first happened. Ago in season one, and really isn't that controversial, and it's very obvious. Well, here's the thing. It's not that obvious because some of you are like, oh, it's obviously Annie, and some of you are like, oh, it's obviously Aaron. So there's a dissent within the fandom about who's actually responsible. And then of course I want to make this a bigger, broader video about morality and death in Attack on Titan. And I'm using Stohess as a great example because this example is a really, really, really good example of how we can sort of talk about, deaths and people dying in Attack on Titan and who's responsible and who's to blame. Okay, so let's go on. Most obvious answer is, well, the person who's responsible is the person who killed them. That's the first. I'm gonna just. That's the first line of reasoning, right? Is the person who killed them. So let's say Annie punches Aaron, she misses, and she hits a wall, and then the bricks come and they hit somebody, right? You say, okay, well, Annie's responsible. And then say if Aaron's, chasing her and he steps on someone, that's Aaron's fault. That's one way of looking at it. Then there's Annie's the bad guy. She's the one who started this whole thing. He's fighting her for a good reason, so it's her fault. And then there's another line of speaking. There's another line of speaking where it's Aaron's mostly or completely Aaron's fault because Aaron didn't really care about the people who were in Stohess. Meanwhile, Annie showed a great care for them, taking care not to kill them. But when she did kill them, expressed guilt or regret over it. I say expressed slightly because she didn't say, "Oh, I killed this person." So said her facial expression implied that she did not take an action that was that she wanted to take. Meanwhile, Aaron had no regard for anyone's lives whatsoever and went on a full rampage and did whatever the hell he wanted to do, and people died. Now, there's another thing we have to understand, and this is my personal not belief, but this is my personal thought, and I've actually heard other people say this, which is recall how Mikasa injured Captain Levi in season 1. Had Captain Levi been there, well, we know what happens when the female Titan fights Captain Levi. We know what happens there. So it can be inferred that having Mikasa injure Captain Levi indirectly leads to people dying in Stohess. Right. So a whole bunch of ways looking at things. Now, let's go and let's really try to explain who's responsible for suffering, who's responsible for death, in Attack on Titan as a whole. And using Stohess as an example. So in Stohess, Annie's the bad guy. But here's the thing. Is she really the bad guy? When we're first watching season 1, it's very obvious that she's there. I mean, she's working with the Titan. She wants to exterminate humanity. She wants to kidnap Aaron. But the funny thing is, this is really, really interesting, is no one asked why, right? Why is she trying to kidnap Aaron? It's like we didn't even need to ask a question. Just her trying to kidnap a protagonist means she's a bad guy, or that she can't do it, and that she must be stopped at all cost. Oh, I forgot the other thing is that the Survey Corps, people were holding the Survey Corps responsible for the Stohess incident. We'll get to that later. So, but we never asked why. Why was she trying to kidnap him? Well, according to the propaganda they were injected with, they were trying to save the world. So in the same way that you use Aaron's blatant disregard for human life, or bystanders, or blatant disregard for reducing collateral damage, you could say that was villainy or bad, or you could say, well, he was trying to stop a bad thing, he was trying to do a good thing, so he's sort of off the hook in a way. But according to their propaganda and according to Aaron's own admission, sacrificing Parody would be a small number of humans compared to the amount of humans that would be sacrificed in the rumbling or any other scenario that would protect Parody. So was she really the bad guy, right? Because you have to ask yourself, what are your goals? What is I hate to say this because it makes it sound like there's different morals depending on who you are, but what is your moral philosophy? Again, there's only one moral philosophy, obviously, but would you say for the sake of argument that your goodness or badness, your evil, your virtue depends on how well you follow your moral philosophy, right? This is just, there's natural law, which is laws that are apparent to all humans. Most humans. The laws that are apparent to most humans. For example, most obvious one, and one I'm talking about right now, killing people is wrong. If I go outside and I shoot the first 5 people I see, that's considered an evil action. Not for any particular logical reason. It's considered bad because God gave us natural law. That's what it's called. It's called natural law. Then there's the actual law, like your regulations and codes. So let's say you're let's say imports of Kinder eggs are illegal. Eating a Kinder egg is not, bad under natural law, but that is bad under, or evil under, the actual law. So, but the thing is that when I bring this up is to say that, so first off, explain what natural law is, and then explain that it applies to most humans. There does, but if without religion, there is a breakdown of what exactly is good or evil. For example, not telltale, but classic scenario. Intruder comes into your house. Do I have the right to end another person's life? Now, there's a sheriff in Florida who thinks that it's perfectly fine to do that. There's people in California who think it's not okay to do that, right? But they all are covered by natural. They all have natural law. Most of those people, right? But it gets different. So depending, again, there's only one right answer to that question. Especially when you're dealing with death of all things, there's absolutely only one right answer. And I'm probably not going to share in this video, but you're talking about something as extreme as death, and people have different philosophies as to what is right, what is wrong, who's to blame, who's responsible, blah blah blah. So again, let's say this. Let's say a scenario. An intruder comes to your house. And let's say we know for certain he's coming there to murder people and to steal your stuff, right? You kill him. You shoot him. Your family is safe. Your property is safe. But the bullet goes through the door and hits a child, which is essentially what happened in Stohess, right? Annie's a bad guy. She's trying to exterminate humanity. She's trying to kidnap Aaron. She is going to leave. And Aaron stops her, but a stray rock. She actually fell down across the church, but just a stray rock killed someone. Who's to blame? Now, some of you may say, well, obviously, it's the guy's fault. He should have been more careful, blah, 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 blah. This, that thing. Maybe he shouldn't have killed a guy in the first place. Other people will be more inclined to say it's the intruder's fault. He caused the situation in the first place. He should have even been there. He put him in a situation where he had to fire his weapon. And it could be said, hey, it's the kid's fault for being there. I mean, he was there. He put himself in that situation, and so that's what happened. Or another person could say, it's the system's fault. Again, I'm trying to go as much as possible, as much scenarios as possible. I don't actually believe all these crazy scenarios that I'm contriving, but I was trying to give you as an example. It's the system's fault, and the system means the servant core. It's the system's fault. It should be there should be a system where people don't go hungry, or people don't have to feel a need to steal property, even if it's not essential to human life. Maybe he was lonely. It's the system's fault for not taking care of this guy. Obviously, something has to be wrong with you to go into another man's house and try to kill his family and take his stuff. So it's the system's fault, right? Again, those are different strings of philosophy, moral philosophy or moral code, and this is why it gets dicey because now someone has to be punished, right? Is it going to be the killer? Is it going to be the kid? Is it going to be the system as a whole? Is it going to be the robber? Who's it going to be? And it's a very extreme thing. You cannot just be like, well, we don't know. So it's just someone died. And again, Stohess lots of people died. And again, I didn't touch on this, but the survey corps is held responsible because they were the ones investigating Titans. They were the one going outside the walls. They drew Annie in and all this other stuff. And again, remember this. Remember this. Again, I know this happened a long time ago, and everyone's caught up in season 4 now. But remember that Erwin purposely led her into the city so he can capture her in the city, knowing full well people will die, right? Remember, but that's what the plan was. And again, Armin did the same thing. He knew exactly what was going to happen. So he was either going to capture her in the tunnel, which I'm sure he knew she was not going to go in the fucking tunnel. Sorry, I'm going to try to destroy this channel, but he knew she wasn't going to go in the tunnel. I mean, again, he's good at human nature. He probably knows if she's the female Titan, there's no way she's going to go in the tunnels. And as she stays in those tunnels, a bloody battle's going to ensue. And so he pretty much knew with about 80% certainty that people were going to die. Innocent people were going to die, right? So. And the other thing, again, we're gonna bounce around a whole bunch of different scenarios. Again, I'm just using Stohess as a grounding point, a universal thing we can all point to. But let's take a look at the rumbling. For those of you who think that the rumbling is the right course of action, whether you're caught up with the manga or not, and if you are not caught up with the manga, I implore you, please click off the video now, stop watching, close your tabs, close everything. I promise you, it's worth it. It's worth it down to the very end. Okay, trust me. You don't want to spoil yourself. It's an incredible story. You just don't want to do it. So click off right now. Anyway, but thanks for your support. But listen, back when he started the rumbling, he killed people. He killed people. Just starting the damn thing. Just starting it required. Took a human life. A human cost. Right? Just starting the damn thing. Was it still a right decision? Eldian lives. Right? We're talking about Eldian children, Eldian innocents. Was it the right thing to do? Was it not the right thing to do? Right? Liberio, right? Was that the right thing to do? If you're a Jaegers or if you're a pro rumbling, was Liberio the right course of action? And now let's get really real for a second. Let's get super real. Today's Memorial Day, so interesting to bring this up. But let's bring up World War II. And I'm not even going to talk about the atomic bombs. Let's not even talk about the atomic bombs. Let's talk about World War II as a general principle, right? Who's the bad guy, right? I think we can say with for fairness certain that all, the Nazis were the bad guys, right? No matter how Russia treated her prisoners, no matter what America's motivation was for going in, no matter what France's or Greece's motivations were, the Nazis, the Axis, they were the bad guys. I don't think it's controversial. I don't think it's wrong to say. I don't think it's racist at all. I think it's very clear. The Nazis were horrible, sick people. And they need to be stopped. They killed about 12 million people. And the Japanese people were absolutely evil people at that time. Again, I'm not saying Japanese people are evil. Again, I'm this channel is mainly to defend this. I'm a Japanese man, but they were doing some really evil stuff. And of course, the Nanking Massacre, another example of their horrible atrocities towards children. You had the United States send her citizens over, knowing full well they were going to die. Full well, someone was going to get a bad telegram, radio, whatever. Someone was going to get a bad message. Your dad is not coming home. He died. That's on a soldier's perspective. That's on a soldier. Imagine you knowing you're going to kill a bunch of innocent civilians. You know for certain. Again, everyone involved in this war knew for certain that they were going to kill innocent civilians. And let's not even talk about the bombing campaigns. And let's not even go into the atomic bombs that were dropped, which actually caused less suffering than the Tokyo thing. But those things took a heavy, heavy human toll. People never got to see loved ones again. People never got to start families. People had their childhood robbed from them on all three sides of the war. Three sides mean soldier, civilian. It was devastating, but was it the right thing to do? Was it really necessary to spend all that blood on all three sides, killing other human Japanese soldiers? Was it really a good thing to do that? Was it really a good thing to send Americans to die in Asia, in Europe? Was it a good thing to go into this war knowing full well civilians were going to die? And again, this can be applied to any, just or noble war. Take the Civil War as an example. Was it really a good thing to have brother fighting brother? Was that really a good thing? Was it a good thing to have people go out to send them to die, knowing they're going to die, to ruin civilians? I mean, look at Atlanta. Atlanta got destroyed, flattened, a bunch of innocent people died. But was it all worth it? Anyway, going back to Stohess. Was it really the right decision? Was Commander Aaron's gamble really the right decision? And there is a valid reason to criticize him, because he did do this knowing full people were going to die. Now, we haven't touched on Annie yet, and there's another layer of this that I've been hiding, and it's the fact that under my moral code, I believe that family comes first over everything. And I don't mean, well, if a family of 5 is going to get exterminated, there's like 10 people, should you sacrifice? No, the whole train scenario where your kid's stuck on our train, but if you switch the thing, then 30 passengers will die. That's 30 people. That's easy. That's a no-brainer. Now, will me or people who have this moral philosophy feel bad about it? I mean, sure, of course we will. But no, family is first. I mean, especially as a man, in which Aaron is one. Your job is to protect your family. That's your first goal: protecting your family. All right, you're not protecting your family if you sacrifice them for something else. All right. So that's my moral code. But Annie was separated from her father, and her father was used as leverage in order for her to come home. Right. That was the deal. So she couldn't come home unless she completed her mission. She could not see her loved one, her father, her family, unless she completed her mission. If she didn't complete her mission, she would have been, restricted to tie-in, killed, whatever, or to stay in parity to complete her mission. That to me is incredibly evil. You have this powerful foreign entity using people's loved ones as leverage, right? Remember, Peake's dad was sick. Berthold's dad was sick. Ryan's a little bit of a different story, but we had all these people who their family members was a reason why they joined the military or stay in the military in the first place. That, to me, is where I'm like, is the people who died in Stohess, maybe it's not the Server Corps' fault. That's ridiculous. Maybe it's not Aaron's fault. I mean, he's the good guy. Maybe it's not even Annie's fault. Maybe it's Marley's fault, because Marley is the one who sent her. She did not want to go there. As we all know, she did not want to go there. She was a willing participant in this. So you have to give her less. I mean, at least a little bit of a subdued punishment or subdued responsibility. If someone does not want to partake in the action that they are partaking in, that has to count for something. I mean, right? But Marley wanted this. They wanted Eldians to die. They wanted people in parity to die, and they wanted to manipulate people using their loved ones to attack parity and to continue their war machine. And now you're like, wait a second. How do we get from it's either Aaron or Annie to it being Marley? People, I mean, an ocean, not ocean, but a straight away. These people are completely far away. They weren't there. I mean, that's really weird to shift the blame off of people who are actually there to do that. My response would be again, if you were Annie, what would you do, or what did you want Annie to do? Anytime people talk to me about or not people, but usually people, let's say people about war, or especially World War II. It's always I'm like always okay. What did you want to happen? Because X would have happened if X didn't happen. What did you want to happen? Right? Yeah, and so if she wants to go back to her father, and especially if the roles were reversed, if the father wants to go back to his daughter, what did you want him? What did you want him to do? Let his daughter die, not see his daughter, not see his daughter ever again, not let her see her father ever again. Let her die? Are you serious? Let her father die? Are you serious? That's what you wanted to happen? We may say, well, yes, but that's because X amount of people will lose their fathers. I agree. The problem is who created the damn situation in the first place? Who actually sent these Titans over there? It was Marley. Right now, this video isn't not for me to convince you, which a lot of my videos are to convince you. Because a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's just my opinion. I don't want you. I'm not here to change anyone's minds. I'm just stating my opinion." A lot of my videos that I'm just gonna say right now, that absolutely does not apply. Most of my videos, especially the ending videos, are just absolutely lecture you on what is happening because you guys give way too much disrespect to Isayama and you guys do not understand the story at all. I know. I'm not supposed to say that because that's the thing you guys all mock us for because you don't understand the story. You don't understand Isayama. You don't understand literature. You don't understand love. You don't understand art. You don't understand anything. So yes, I'm trying to change your mind. But this video is not for that. This video is not for that. This video is just me expressing or diving into the moral philosophy behind deaths and sacrifice and Attack on Titan. Now, so they created the situation in the first place. They're the ones who did it. They wanted this to happen. Again, Pekin, Barathon, and Annie, they're all unwilling participants. They would rather do something else. Another thing I like to bring up is what's called historical relativity, or the status quo. Right? I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but you don't know. No, I'm not going to say that. Way too controversial. But you have to take into account historical relativity, or what do you call it? It's the status quo. What's the status quo at the time? For me, changing